Hey guys, Jakob here, and welcome to the new episode of Automated Seller Podcast. Today I have a new special guest, Bill Jacoby, a CEO and founder of Apply Pro Plus, which is the cloud-based framework to build global and retailer sales channel compliance. Hi Bill, how are you?
Hi Jacob, how you doing?
Doing good, thanks. And thanks for being my guest. Actually, it's the second episode in this new 2024 year. And I'm actually really happy that today we'll have a chance to talk about very important topic, especially for Amazon sellers that not so many of them actually pay attention to that. So I'm actually really happy. Maybe we can start pretty much with your introduction, Bill. If you could tell a little bit about yourself, about your background, and then we'll jump directly to Comply Pro Plus.
Thanks. So I was a former importer. I imported 5 European baby brands into the United States. I had a company called Eurobaby back in early 2000s. And when 2008 came, we lost financing. So I had to sell my company to another company that had 5 brands. So for 2 years, I worked with importing brands, European brands, into baby and juvenile products, which are the highest compliance requirements for the country. So after having lost the business going to that, my contract was up, and I started a consulting company called Jacoby Solutions to help companies around the world bring products into the United States and implement compliance programs. And we did worldwide compliance for about 4 to 5 companies that we did their worldwide for 300 products for 120 countries, and had a staff of 3 to 4 people. As I did that, I became a product safety coordinator, which is a person approved by the US government, the Justice Department, and a CPSE. And I handled 2 consent decrees, which meant that companies either had to go out of business or hire me to implement a compliance program and monitor it for 2 years on behalf of the government. So having done that leading up to COVID, I got a lot of information about what the government's looking for import restrictions and the documentation that you needed. So post-COVID, most companies had to scramble and reinvent their businesses. So I had an earlier software program called CPSE Ready for children's products, but with the people dispersing to home offices and supply chain getting disrupted, I started working on Comply Pro Plus. And this is a platform that enables people to build their compliance on a platform in the cloud on AWS. So you can sell your products in any country around the world, and then you can sell in any retailer channel. So whether you sell on Amazon, Walmart, Target, other retailers in Europe, you have the ability to build the documentation once, show proof of compliance, but also I built in the future-proof software. We built in authorized representative access for European companies or companies selling in Europe, that the European representative has access to all the data as a proxy for the government. And also I'm part of the e-file committee, which the CPSE e-file proposal is coming on board, and most people don't know about it yet, but we're in the beta program right now. By April, the beta will end, and rulemaking will start from April through the end of the year. And most Amazon sellers don't know this. Their lives are going to get changed tremendously. Certificates for children's product certificates or general certificates of compliance, GCCs, were only required previously once a year. You just had to generate a current test report and once a year. But moving forward, between customs and CPSE, they're implementing a program so that you can use AI to have forward visibility into products coming into the country. Major changes to certificates are that they'll need to be filed on every importation, and each citation will be needed to accompany that product with a current test report reference and a version of the certificate. Yeah. So this also expands to de minimis shipments, or factories are now shipping from China or outside the US into the country. So anybody shipping will have to provide certificates also. So this is a huge change, and companies are going to have to redo the way they've done business. And the platform that I built is going to automate that process to allow you to build your data. And when you implement new product, bring product into the country, you'll be able to print certificates and also send file to the government.
Yeah. So that's actually crazy that a person like you with such a huge knowledge and past and all of that experience actually right now built a software that will help so many sellers all around the world. So I would love to jump more into this and actually talk a little bit about the, like as you said, right, the building the documentation. Like Comply Pro allows to do that, allows to build all of the documentation for certificates for all of your products. And how are sellers doing it right now, right? So I just want to kind of talk about these differences. If you're a seller selling, how are you doing it right now normally? Is it like a huge mess for you that you have a lot of documents, then maybe you need to renew them, get more certificates from factories and so on, and how is it to compare to actually using the Comply Pro?
Okay, until recently with Amazon, by the way, Amazon is probably the lowest bar, for all retailers and platforms for compliance, and they're upping their game. The last year and a half, you're asking for they're asking for packaging, they're asking to see tracking code information. They previously did not, but that's because of their legal liability as a platform, just being treated as a retailer like Walmart or other major retailers.
Mm-hmm.
So most people, Amazon has built automated systems where they can tell you what regulations you may need, and you can go get your testing. The problem with that is if you're going to sell into other retail channels, which, now into the United States market, Temu is coming in, TikTok is a marketplace. So the retail channels are splintering. And once you build all your documentation into Amazon system, you can't use that for other systems. So what I built is a cloud-based system that once you build it, if anyone else needs to see it, within minutes, you can provide all the documentation that you need as proof of compliance. I call it seller proof of compliance. And that protects the seller because we built checks and integrity checks into the software. So if a test report is going to be expiring in the next 45 days, if you're building the citation module, that you have a current citations for the products on your test report. So it acts as insurance against if you have someone doing the work for you to make sure you can sleep better at night as an owner or executive in a company because you know that all the information is getting completed.
And what would actually happen? I mean, there are sellers, right? Like especially people who are listening to this podcast. Those are, yes, they are Amazon sellers, but nowadays everyone knows that you cannot just put all of your eggs into the one basket. You cannot just sell on Amazon. There are sellers selling on multiple marketplaces, right? And you just mentioned that the files that you actually provide to Amazon with it, they are not sufficient to other platforms like TikTok. So what would happen if a seller would just start selling on other platforms without those documents?
Well, first of all, you have to qualify for that. So for the ease of ramping into other retail channels is the reason why we build the data in a certain way. And the technical file format folder system we built is for global sales. So you can create custom folders. We have given you a framework for selling globally. These are the file structures recognized in the EU, but also what you need in the US. Most European sellers or people selling into the US market don't realize that Amazon points you to the CPSE website, but doesn't tell you about policies and procedures that you need also. So if you're selling children's products, for example, you need a material change policy and forms for your factories. You need undue influence training, which you have to provide to anybody associated with testing, and a periodic testing plan. So you have to understand the products that you're testing, tracking label requirements. But most importantly, it's the incident reporting policies. And because product liability is a big issue in the United States market, there's a duty to report within 48 hours of when you know of any incident involving the use of your product. If there's an injury, accident, death, you have to have procedures and policies in place. And we built a tracking system in Comply Pro Plus that right now in the early pieces, the left hand and the right hand know what's happening. So your compliance manager, when you get incidents that are escalated for injuries or accidents, you enter them in a system, and then there's a 2-day window there that you can note that you have looked at those incidents. And the CPSE in November just started criminally prosecuting companies that failed to report or hid these reports. So, we're building a system that you can build your process and train your staff, whether you could be located anywhere in the world, but you understand fully the requirements that you need, not just the Amazon sending a test report and sending some images and that kind of information. It's more processes that you need. You need feedback processes, and a lot of people don't realize that. So when you have it in place for one, like a recall plan, if you go into Walmart, you already have those boxes checked. Quality with Target, for example, getting people onto Target, which I help companies get listed. It takes a lot more now. You need quality org charts from your factory. They don't trust the supply chain anymore, because, and companies have to know when you go into retail channels, chargebacks are a big deal. Like, you can send it back with Amazon, they don't care. But when you get scored and you send it back to a major retailer, you get the product deducted, but it gets taken away. You don't get it back. And what happens is, we capture that data so we can have a continuous process for corrective actions. So you don't wait for 3 months to see what's happening to that product. You have instant feedback. So there's an issue. And rather than going through a big recall, we have the data on a granular basis to say, hey, after Chinese New Year, we have one bad batch. And we can unequivocally say that we can only recall this one batch of 600 products, 1,000 products. We don't have to recall everything we sold in a year.
Yeah,
and we're teaching people best practices.
And I think it's also great, and you couldn't have it before, right? That since you track everything and you keep everything in a cloud, pretty much you have a real-time data and dashboard functionalities. You can literally go to the main dashboard and see everything, right? If something is not right, you get the notification, you can see it right away and react fast. And before, probably that was not possible.
Well, yeah, everybody has the data. We built a dashboard for live data. So you can see whether the product families, the Amazon sales channels, how many products in each marketplace. You can see the test reports. You can see the factory audits that you need for going into other sales channels. You can see all your product inspections. You can see your certificates and production batches by batch level. So you can enter the tracking code. And for a small company, you can run your whole company's operations from product design through delivery and incident reporting, all within one app. And it's reasonably priced. And most companies, if you go into NetSuite or larger ERP systems, you're going to charge a lot of money. But a lot of people just use spreadsheets or rudimentary tools. And where you get into problems, it's not good for the team. So we have a calendar, a scheduler, and we have a task assignment. So you can take email out of the equation, and you can assign tasks on a product basis as you're developing new products. Or if you're putting information, you're going on vacation, you can assign tasks to other people so you can enjoy your vacation, not have to log into email every day and go find stuff, because you can actually see the audit trail of what's getting done.
Yeah, that's actually really cool feature. So pretty much, if you're the brand owner, you can get one account and also add staff members. So there are a couple of permission levels, so they can also not see everything, right?
There's six roles. We have user roles, team user roles. We have the admin, which is the owner of the company, has full delete rights. We make companies implement a compliance manager, and that person is required. Everything goes to them, so they're the eyes and ears for all compliance-related items. And then we have executive roles, which can only see. You can either have them read or write, but a lot of times they mess things up, so they can only see what's happening. We have consultant roles. So a lot of people use consultants, whether for product design, if they're putting in data, you can do, if you're have your compliance managed by another person, we have that role. And we have the authorized representative role. And then finally, we have the team user role that for training that we have not built yet. That will be a small company-wide site that you can literally upload your training documentation and send it to all the employees, and being able to document that they've received training.
Yeah, that's actually awesome. And now, Bill, I wanted to talk about the CPSE e-filling that's coming in 2025. It's very important, and I wanted to ask you a little bit more about that, right? Because you also have it on your website that you can automate your certificate fillings. So could you tell a little bit more about it? Why is it so important also?
Well, with the new proposed law, every company is going to have that duty to actually report each citation, each certificate in a digital format, because PDFs can be modified, and the amount of paperwork that with all the shipments coming in, the government doesn't have any insight, and they're going to start scoring companies on, have you had prior violations? Do you sell high risk products? So you can imagine with AI and the proliferation of AI, what the data you could do. Like if you're a great importer, never had any, high risk products, by filing electronically, there's two components of it. There's the customs broker filing, and then there's the importer record. And the main change that's going to happen, which is going to affect a lot of Amazon sellers, is there's going to be an attestation screen on the form that a company representative has to, under penalty of law, attest that these products are compliant. So there will be a law behind it, and that hasn't happened before. A lot of Amazon sellers they have a bad batch, they shut the company down, they open up a new company and start over again. That won't be possible. So the companies will have the basis of either going to the product registry, uploading their data in this huge spreadsheet, and then uploading each time. You can either have your custom broker send a shortened data set, or you can send a full message set. So understanding that you have all that data in the first place is key, because it's a lot of disparate data. And with Comply Pro Plus, we built all the fields ahead of time. Like I had my system built 6 months before the government started testing theirs. And so it's important that once you build your data, that there will be no extra activities that you need to do. You'll just have to, the attestation form will come up, and each purchase order that you import into the country, we've figured out a way to automate that. So with the creation of a purchase order, we'll be able to create certificates and actually send the data.
And do you think actually, you said that this will be basically a requirement by the government. Do you actually see it right now that more and more sellers are being aware of that, or how does it actually work right now? Like people are not yet talking about it, or are they not yet? Not yet.
As part of the beta, we've been having meetings for a year, and I'm on a committee with IKEA, Walmart, UPS, BV as a test lab, Macy's, and some other major retailers. We've been working on the understanding of how this is going to work. Now, the beta is serving as an example of what works and what doesn't work. And so once that is ironed out, then there'll be a final rule, and then there'll be feedback. And then it's anticipated that April 1st next year will be the implementation date. The government did say that anybody that is filing early will reduce their risk of having their containers pulled for inspection. So that is a huge benefit, that we're going to be able to do this by second quarter this year, to be able to have that data up and running. So if you get in the express lane and you're sending your data in there, you're going to take yourself out of that risk of having your containers pulled for documentation, which could cost you $6,000 to $10,000, $13,000, because you get demurrage charges every day, and you have to wait for that inspection to occur. So, and plus you don't get your products. So there is a benefit. This is like an easy pass type of way of sending your data in, so the government can see what's on there, and they can see it ahead of time instead of asking you for it as previously done.
Got it. So yeah, I think it's also in your benefit to educate sellers pretty much earlier, right? And I think it's also great because it's a win-win scenario. They will save the money. You'll get probably customers, right? Since you're actually solving such an important task that needs to be done. So I think those are like great situations. Yeah,
for European sellers that sell on Amazon currently, Amazon hasn't mentioned anything about this, and because the CPSE uses third-party labs. A lab can possibly do this for you in some instances, but it's going to be different things for different people. We're just, having been looking at this for 10 years and having had a previous beta system, I saw the need for this 5 to 6 years ago. And more importantly, it's organizing your data. It's a surprising, but not so surprising occurrences happening on Amazon, where in the quest to get ahead of other sellers. People are reporting other sellers because of non-compliant products. So they will actually buy products of competitor, test them, and if they find they're not compliant, they'll report them to the CPSE, whether on saferproducts.gov or to Amazon and say, I think this product's not safe. And so it's inherent on each seller to be bulletproof, to know what they need. You can't have your factory just passing on your data. It's your responsibility to understand what you're selling. I mean, you're spending a lot of money on marketing, placement, search ads and everything else. Why wouldn't you do the proper compliance to keep you in that position? Because if you get knocked out of that position, it's going to take you a lot of money to get back up there if you ever get back up there.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. Bill, I want to ask you also for a little bit more about like future developments and the company vision, right? So definitely this CPSC e-filing is it's huge thing, but obviously it's not the only thing that you have in mind, right? So what are the future developments that you are planning actually on Comply Pro system?
Well, there's some I can talk to because I have a patent filed, but some I'd rather not at the moment. But sure. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a training site for each company so they can contact all their employees and whether they need to rework products or have a closed like internet type of system just for employees that they can see that they've at least got the messaging, and that's one of the things. And then the incident reporting, that's on the module, and product registrations. Right now, if you sell in the United States market for adorable infant and nursery goods, which are products usually marketed to children 2 and under, you have to have a registration card requirement. So I had this in my previous CPSI Ready, that we'll be able to take the consumer's registration data, put a QR code on the registration card, bring that data on the batch level into the system. And this eliminates the need of having a separate database. You have to have the registration card data. So we import the registration card data, scan it, bring it in, but we'll have all the consumer data on the product level, which is a huge deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So that's actually great. Now, I know that the system is live. It's already used by customers, and I'll actually talk about a little bit more later on how people can start and check it out, obviously. Now I wanted to talk also a little bit about our collaboration. So I know that we are pretty much working for the last few months together, and I'd actually very like to ask our clients like a few questions. I mean, you have a great history in software development on your own, like much better than I do, right? But still, I would love to hear a little bit of the feedback, right? So first, maybe as the decision-making process. Obviously, in your whole career, you managed to work with multiple software service providers like us, right? And I wanted to ask you about the decision process behind it, right? So what made our agency stand out? We're choosing us also as your development partner and now working also on helping you with the development of the new features of Comply Pro.
Well, when building a complex app, let me take a step back. It took me, the first time I went out and farmed it out, not knowing what I didn't know, but being a subject matter expert. Your success depends on the knowledge and the ceiling of the knowledge of the developers that you choose. So 10 years ago, by the time I had launched my system, it was outdated. And when I had it audited, there was like 12,000 lines of code and it only needed 4,000. So it wasn't really built efficiently. And because I had to throw the baby out in the bathwater, I rebuilt it 3 times after that, going to India, and I had people in Greece building it. The complex subject matter, and because I'm a subject matter expert, having worked in the field, I built every wireframe, and I was able to portray what I wanted to build. I then needed the ability of the programmers to understand the logic and see where things were going, having no experience in how business works, or this is such, compliance is really, it's at the bottom of the triangle. Like everybody wants to be in sales and marketing, all the fun jobs, but all the crap falls to the bottom. So there's not a lot of people with subject matter in this field, and there's not a lot of automation to date. So finding the right partner is finding the right spouse or girlfriend, everything else. It's like you have to grow together. And so when I went through three developers before the company that built built the app, and they were great people, but I had to spend a lot of time just teaching, and I have a master's in project management, so I project manage my own project, but not understanding where this could go in the future with incorporating AI, which is on the radar. We have on a module that I didn't talk about. You have to have a partner that has the technical knowledge and the experience, not just in a singular, lane, but for API connections. Exactly. What brought me to you, meeting you at Prosper last year, was the ability. We have the ability to hook up Comply Pro Plus to larger companies' ERP systems, and creating those APIs for NetSuite, for example, Microsoft, and Seller Cloud. So as we get these bigger companies on board, aggregators and such, we can have that data coming right into the system. So there's less data entry, data automation. And so that's what brought me to you at Prosper last year. And it for an app this big, it takes months just to onboard. And it's not, you can't just change overnight. You have to, there's a lot of education that goes into understanding. And luckily, since I designed every screen, built it, portrayed the logic, it was easier because it cuts down on development time. And our sprints are able to be quicker. And I usually get what I need like in the first go around or with some minor modifications.
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome actually feedback. And also, yes, we've met on the Prosper show, and I think from my point of view, right? I mean, how we also try to market ourselves and differentiate actually ourselves from other software companies that nowadays I don't think it's enough to just create like another dev shop, another software house, right? That just have developers with like multiple programming language, like 10 different technologies. I think it's just simply not enough. I think that today, one thing is to have great developers, but then the second thing is to actually work in a specific industry niche, right? And for us, yes, those are marketplaces, multiple APIs, like we are fluent with this. So it just takes much faster to get on board on the new project, rather than just, regular software company which is working in 100 different fields. So I'm actually glad that we managed to click, and right now Rafi and Arek are working on your system with you, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been challenging in the beginning, definitely, to understand the whole umbrella, right? Basically everything about the compliances, product safety compliance framework. Like as you said, everyone wants to be in sales and marketing. No one really likes here the boring stuff, but such an important stuff. So we didn't have that much experience into it. So also we had to catch up. But yeah, we are working together so far. And I actually wanted to ask you also for the feedback on the how to say development process overall, right? Like how is it for you to right now work with Rafi and Arek?
It's effortless. As a project manager, managed multi-million-dollar projects, the communication, the translation layer is Rafi. The project manager, he understands the business case, and I can unload the data on him. I do screenshots, I mark up everything, hand it over, and then we have once a week meetings, and we, with Jira and Slack, we're able to communicate without email, and it works very efficiently. And I just take screenshots and mark up items where I want fields moved or built. And so it's really been seamless. And probably the biggest, it's not even a frustration with anybody in this, is try to understand the business use case, because it's hard if you're just a coder. You're an assembly line worker in one sense, where you're understanding you can do that, you can put this, or you're a mechanic. I can put a transmission in, I can change the tires, I can do this, but understanding like more about where you want to go. Now let's build a navigation system inside the car. Like, so it's the ability to see where we're heading, and that's been very. I've been very surprised, pleasantly surprised, how quickly they've been able to get up to speed, because it's taken us a couple months to go over it because it's taken me 10 years of having a beta working on it to transform and take 2 years to build that out. And we had a control beta that we finished because we wanted to cross the T's, dot the I's, and we found some issues. And your team was very good in looking through for best practices, for possible security issues. So it's that proactive approach that I appreciate. It's not just doing. A lot of companies want to rent a coder, and
Yeah.
if you're renting that person and you spend all the money teaching them and you don't have a support network to support you, what happens if they leave, right? And so, it's been good that you guys are looking out for me and not just chasing the dollars. A lot of people wanted me, before I talked to you, to take a resource and commit to spending X amount of dollars this month. And they're just looking on the differential, how much they're going to make renting that person out. And that's not a great way to do business because, commodity coding can be a commodity. It's the people that have the brain power and experience of working with big data and looking at where things are headed, not building yesterday's applications.
Yeah. Totally. A very important thing that you mentioned, right? Those outsourcing companies, in the end, yes, they are all about just giving developers, putting them to the projects, and like the accounting manager or even like founder, usually they don't really care what kind of projects they work on. And for us, it's also very important that we also choose our clients, and in the end, we build the ecosystem of clients who are working in a similar industry, as I mentioned, right? And here it just clicks basically perfect because we have so many Amazon sellers, agencies, vendors, not only on Amazon, like not sellers I meant, but agencies and multi-channel marketplace sellers that basically, yes, they will need to use your software as well, right? So there's so many also opportunities to connect our clients with you and so on, right? So that's how we also look at our business. We were never about selling developers, outsourcing developers. We are always about actually understanding the full project and seeing how this in the end can create this ecosystem of clients and then the network. So I'm actually glad that also from your perspective this works like this.
No. For example, in the Amazon ecosystem, there's 1,000 programs for inventory. I built and created a niche with this framework. There's only one, and I'm sure there will be similar competitors. But with my experience in the field, as a former importer and having worked with the governments, working with governments around the world, handling worldwide compliance issues, it takes that knowledge base. Anybody can build software, but building it for the way companies work. The ability for now sustainability issues in Europe, be able to create folders on the fly. You can't build a perfect system, but you can put the options in for a company to adapt it the way they work as a company. Some companies are very simple. Other companies are more complex. But having showed this software to Disney and to other large, when I first showed it, the chief counsel from Nike came up to me and said, "Can you build this for me?" He had just taken over. And I said, sure, we could, but that's not my mission. Like I started out down this road, but that's a testament to my knowledge and subject matter expertise to create an ergonomic system that's very intuitive, easy to use, and doesn't require much care and feeding. A company can get up and running in hours. You just have to upload your images. We have uploaders, and we're making it continually easier to sell, not just for Amazon, but people need revenue and sales. It's monitoring all the sales channels where you sell your products.
Totally. So yes, thanks a lot, Bill, for this short interview, also for testimonial, for honest opinion about how we work together. It's very important also for us. I will definitely show this whole podcast episode to Rafi, Arek, to our development team. We are always here to support you. I mean, we really care about the Comply Pro Plus because it is already big thing and it can just grow, right? And our mission for Delta Logic is always to become like a full technological partner and grow with our clients. So I'm really also excited that we'll meet at Prosper Show this year. It's actually in not even 2 months, so that's pretty soon. Sorry?
Time is flying. Yes.
Time is flying, exactly. So, Bill, maybe at the end for this episode, you can share how people can find you and Comply Pro. How can they apply? I also know that there's some promo code on the website, so maybe they can use it.
Sure. The website is www.complyproplus.com. And there's information, from an Amazon seller to a mature seller selling in multiple sales channels. We have all the information there. As Jacob mentioned, we have a promo code, and I will post, for Jacob to put a promo code for anybody looking at this video for a special discount. If you schedule a demo, we will give you an extra user, which is like a $600 value. And the pricing that we're putting in right now is for the new features with creating certificates. E-filing, we're still working on that because it's not finalized, but we're glad to be part of the Delta Logic family, and we have a lot of work to do to educate Amazon sellers, because up to today, people didn't realize what was happening. But if you go back, if you've been around since 2008 and looking at CPSE when it first was introduced, it's a radical change of how you handle your data, how you build your data in your company. So I have something that everybody's going to need. They just don't know it yet. And we're eager, and we have plans priced from $99 a month for companies to make it very easily to make this transition.
Totally. Thank you, Bill. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
And
Great.
We stay in touch. Thanks a lot for watching, for listening to everyone, and we see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.